spaff out my guts about guitar gear. Please ignore the ugly as fuck couch. So we're going to start off by talking about guitars. This is what I mainly use to write and record. The Gibson Les Paul. This is a 2016 traditional model, finished in Desert Burst. I have had it since 2017. I've seen a few upgrades over its time, mainly these DiMarzio deactivator pickups, Tone Pros, Tunematic bridge, and the wiring was changed to a 50s wiring harness. It's a fairly bright guitar for all that, but besides that, pretty much everything else is stock tailpiece. Still got the snot green bogey tuners, close-ons. But yeah, it's my favourite guitar that I've ever owned. It's featured on everything we've recorded for Tyrannus. It was used for most of the first EP, and it was used for pretty much everything you hear on Unslayable, except for the very end of the title track. But yeah, just for future reference as well, each guitar you see here will be strung with Diodario XT's 10 to 52 gauge with D standard tuning. So that is what I'll normally use for recording and writing. It's got that kind of mojo where it's just like everything you touch and you want to write something. So the next one is going to be what I would consider, well, one of two main live guitars really. This is a PRS Marty Friedman signature model. The thing about this guitar is kind of like it takes a lot of that Gibson Les Paul design philosophy and then just tunes it up to kind of be a bit more modern, I guess, or what modern was in the 1990s anyway. Well strategically placed cutaway here, a bit better of a neck join here, engineering mastery of the headstock with the strings pulling all in one direction. In terms of what I've had done to it, pretty much everything's been ripped out besides the bridge. The pickups are again DiMarzio deactivators, which I then got separate covers put on for because the original pickups were like, one of them was like a slime green and the other was like a bogey green, so they weren't very in keeping with the aesthetic of this guitar. Again, 50s wiring harness. This one's got orange drop capacitors, and these are Schaller tuners. They're not lock-in. I've never really been a fan of the whole lock-in thing. Favourite neck profile guitars I've got. Just thick enough to feel really reliable and solid under you without getting into that sort of slightly too fat that Gibson does. Out of my live guitars, this is probably the better sounding one, and maybe in terms of neck, probably a better feeling one as well. But you know, we've got another exciting one to show you. So the PRS was used on the Live Reality EP and half of the guitar tracks on the Take demo. So this is a Dean Select Series V. This is of the last run they did before they got they went and lost a lawsuit against Gibson. So these are illegal now. You can't have them anymore. I know that people really don't like this headstock, but I do. I like how kind of gross it is. So my partner Callum, she bought me the husk of this guitar for Christmas. So it came to me with, it didn't have any pickups or electronics. So we got that sorted out. The pickups are clones of DiMarzio deactivators by a company called Jaden Rose. But from what I'm aware of, they custom ordered from probably a Chinese or a Korean factory pickups made to the same specs as the DiMarzio deactivators for their instruments. This is a great live guitar. Obviously it looks the business. The weight distribution, you see it kind of tips just ever so slightly towards the body when you hold it out, sort of in balance like that where the strap is. And the neck profile is really nice and slim, so it's quite easy to play live. Satin finish neck helps as well, and obviously your Grover tuners. And an ebony fretboard, which is kind of cool as well. It's not, you will probably see me with this more often than any of the others. firstly bonus. Now this is a guitar you'll probably not see me with too often unless you see me on TikTok, which I have used this for a couple of times, and that is a Jackson DKA JS22. Funny story about this guitar, I bought it for £100. It came delivered to me wrapped in the flimsiest of cardboard you can imagine, and then bin bags, which were then sort of duct taped around. But yeah, it's a decent guitar. Once it got cleaned up and we sorted it out, it's fun. It's a fun guitar, but you will not see us play 7 strings ever, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not into that. That was all the guitars I've got to show you. Next we'll go for amps, both of which are by Yamaha. Start off with a mean little green machine, the TH10X by Yamaha. Had this since 2016, and it's pretty much been, if you followed me on my personal Instagram way back when I was just posting all the riffs I was coming up with, which eventually got recorded, there's always this that was getting played through, and then we used this to record the Take It demo. So literally every sound you hear on there, besides the drums and vocals, have been recorded through this, and it sounds way better than it has any right to. I've had influential YouTubers who thought that this was a JCM 900 by Marshall, so yeah, I was really happy with that. Very validated, but I pretty much have it all stock, and any effects I had were just kind of going through it at the time. So all those psychedelic noises that you heard on the Take It demo, it was literally just the chorus and delay reverb setting on that little beam box, plus a Keeley Caverns reverb and delay pedal. So the stacking of those two machines just kind of made the sounds kind of really strange. And I know a few folk are kind of annoyed that we didn't go too psychedelic on the Unslayable album, but you know what? I went out to make a metal album. Live, I use a Yamaha TH100 HD. Now this replaced a 1997 Revision E dual rectifier. This replaced the dual rectifier because this is lighter. It basically addresses every need that I've got for live setup. 2 channels, onboard reverb, onboard boost, onboard noise gate, and yeah, you can just set it 2 channels to how you like, and it all works. It takes chorus pedals really well. Don't like the effects loop on this thing, but it has a bit of a strange design flaw where if you set it to series, unless you've got a pedal going through it, it will just act as like it will just basically cut out and work as a mute, which is really useful, really handy for metal tones, like live when you've got too much gain going on, just turn it off. We didn't record with this, I'm going to get into that in a moment. This was in the room, but wasn't doing what we wanted. So now, I don't have the amp that we used for recording because I don't own it. We used, for all the guitar tracks in Unslayable, we used a Vox AC15C2, which is a 2-speaker variant of the Vox AC15 with Celestion greenbacks. And my god, that beat out like everything else that was in the room, and we just had to boost it with a Proco Rat. With that going into a maxed out Vox AC15, that's what you hear on the Unslayable album, and I love it. It's the best guitar tone I've ever heard. So my thing for you there is, if you are planning on recording and playing live, really consider what you're doing in terms of amps, because what sounds good live probably won't work as well recording. Treat the two as 2 separate entities, as it were. But this little green fella, the TC Electronic Corona Chorus, which is set using the tone print by Sweetwater, Dimension M, based on a Boss Dimension C pedal. Live, I put that through the Yamaha TH100 HD, and that's on at all times. So again, I love chorus, I love it. And the only other pedal I use is the Boss TU3W Wazzer, and the only reason I've got this instead of a regular one is because this one comes in black. And that's pretty much it for us there. In terms of picks, we only have really, I only use sort of two variants, although so it's always going to be the Jazz Free shape, because I'll either use a regular Tortex Jazz Free, which is a 1.14, and it's in purple obviously because in Tyrannus we can't escape that colour. The main one I use is the John Petrucci Signature, which I think is a 1.5, that's by Dunlop. I don't like Dream Theater, but Petrucci seems to have a decent taste in gear. Got turned on to one of these when a friend lent me a guitar and he had these in the case, and just gave them a go and like, oh my, these are great, especially for sweep picking, and obviously because of the material they're made of, they last a good while too. So yeah, give them a go if you want to sort of pick this a little bit different. But that's that really. Hopefully you liked this, hopefully you found it somewhat entertaining. Oh hey Yamaha, if you happen to be watching this, let's work out an endorsement deal, because I don't have your stuff as it is.